So you want to play Braver, huh? Well, let me tell you about this class. Braver is a katana-wielding, bow-shooting hybrid master who harnesses the power of anime and an insane amount of motivation. Your goal on Braver is to brave through all the challenges of the game effortlessly as you unleash your destructive force with the mastery of your blade. Now that you have a general idea of Braver, let's go and break it down. Braver has access to two main weapons, Katana and Bow. Katana is a short-range weapon with incredible bursts and has access to 3 photon arts. Also, all Katana photon arts have 3 stages of them, which are accessed through multiple inputs of the photon art. First, we have Silver Leaf Storm. Silver Leaf Storm moves the user slightly while also performing a series of quick slashes ending in a large damaging single hit. Next, we have Lotus Lightning. Lotus Lightning keeps the user stationary as you unleash a multiple hit ranged attack. Each stage of Lotus increases its damage. And finally, we have Iris Gale. Iris Gale is Katana's main AoE. The first stage of Iris Gale is a large double slash. The second and third stages are 360 AoE explosions centered on the user. Now, let's move on to Bow. Bow has access to 3 photon arts as well. Bow's special mechanic is that all 3 photon arts are also chargeable, changing their properties. On top of this, inputting the weapon action plus a direction key after any photon art will allow you to slide and shoot an extra attack. Now, let's move on to the photon arts themselves. First, we have Flex Arrow. Flex Arrow is a single target move that has 2 charge states. Uncharged fires a quick flex arrow. Charging for 1 state now gives the arrow slightly more damage and penetration. And fully charging to the final state removes all mobility from the user, unleashing a devastating single shot. Next, we have Frenzied Firework. Frenzied Firework is an AoE move that scatters arrows when it connects with the enemy. If you choose to fully charge this move, the properties change to a close-range shotgun-like move. And finally, we have Dimensional Ray. Dimensional Ray, when uncharged, deploys a field of arrows at your targeted location which will hit anything within the circle. When you fully charge Dimensional Ray, you gain 5 stocks of homing attacks which are used with any photon art. These homing attacks are only consumed when your photon art connects with the target. So, now that we've gone over the photon arts for both weapons, let's go talk about the skill tree and the skill point distribution. There are currently 20 total SP in NGS. For me, I put 1 point into everything, 2 out of 5 Brave Combat Final bonus, and 5 out of 5 Brave Combat Short Cycle. Rest Effect Amplifier and Breakfall HP gain are left at 1 out of 5. So now, let's talk about the skills you should know about. Brave Combat is your only active skill that you should always make sure to pop whenever you can due to the short cooldown. Assuming you've maxed out Short Cycle, this gives you 15 seconds of Brave Combat every 60 seconds. This skill gives you decreased PP consumption along with increased PP active recovery. On top of this, Brave Combat Close Range allows Katana to close the distance by using your normal attacks. For bows, you gain knockback immunity and launch resistance at certain points during your photon arts. There's also an extremely high damaging finisher move if you activate Brave Combat again before the duration expires, which you should do every single time. The rest of your skills are passives, which you should definitely take as all of them are pretty important. Fearless Attitude gives you an automatic counter window after every attack on Katana. Katana PA combo retention is extremely important as it allows you to mix and match photon arts with form combos. This allows you to skip certain stages in your PAs depending on your needs on Katana. And Bow Illusion Plus makes PP management on Bow extremely easy while also giving you extra damage. So now, let's talk about my thoughts and theory crafting about Braver. This class is really good. Now for specializing in a single weapon, that's going to be a tough choice for me. Katana and Bow are designed to work together to overcome each other's weakness. Katana has some extremely good damage and burst that's very easily accessible, but its main weakness is it does not have much vertical tracking along with range to its attacks. I would say a lack of gap closer is a weakness, but honestly that's every single melee weapon in the game outside of Twin Daggers and Wired Lance. Also, you can easily fix that by just using a multi-weapon Wired Lance just like every single melee weapon. Now, you will have to get used to the step dodge and attack, as the range on Katana's step dodge is deceptively far. But also, if you trigger a step dodge counter, you gain a lot of distance and damage on Katana. Now, Bow, on the other hand, does cover Katana's range weaknesses, especially on fights that the boss flies directly up. But its main weakness comes down to mainly burst damage and lower DPS in general, which is just normal for ranged weapons since they're not gimped by distance. Katana does fill this void by providing extremely good burst DPS and close range DPS, assuming you're within range. So basically, my usage comes down to using Katana if I'm in range of it, and Bow if I'm completely out of range for Katana. Now, moving on to my damage rotations, let's start with the easier one first. For Bow, I drop an uncharged Dimensional Ray, then spam Flex Arrow along with a weapon action after every single one. For AoE, replace Flex Arrow with Frenzied Firework, either charging it or not charging it. Now, let's talk about the more complicated one, Katana. There's a main rotation I do as it's the most comfortable for me in terms of general use along with PP management. This is 2 Lotus into the 3rd stage of Silver Leaf. 2 Lotus takes approximately 2 seconds to do, which locks you in place, and the 3rd stage of Silver Leaf does slightly less damage than the 3rd stage of Lotus, but you do gain mobility and faster recovery. This means you're able to stick to the target as long as it does not do anything like a large jump. For chasing, just like every single melee in the game, you will have to Photon Dash, but luckily your normal attack coming out of it has a freakishly far range and lets you go right into this rotation. Now, alternatively, I may start the rotation with Silverleaf and go into the 2nd stage of Lotus, then 3rd stage of Silverleaf, depending on what the target is doing and if I'm counter fishing. Now, for AoE Katana, this is going to sound weird, but I use Silverleaf's 1st stage followed by the 2nd and 3rd stages of Iris Scale. I do this because Iris Scale costs 20 PP, while Silverleaf costs 13 PP per use. Iris Scale's 1st stage has a pretty awkward hitbox with not that much range to it, but its 2nd and 3rd stages have very good hitboxes and range. So I use Silverleaf to skip that Iris Scale's 1st stage. This saves me 7 PP every repeat, which actually makes a difference due to how PP hungry Katana is. Experiment with your Katana rotations as the situation needs, since this is a very versatile weapon thanks to the Katana PA retention skill. Also, for Brave combat uses, I try to use it on cooldown as it is a very short cooldown. The best timing during urgent quests would be to line it up with the boss's break phase, however, you may be holding onto it for too long. Also, make sure you never miss the finisher as it's just completely free damage. Now, for subclass choices, Braver is insanely PP hungry. I tried out every single combination, and it boiled down to Gunner just for active PP recovery due to how Katana plays. Braver Force is also something I would consider using for PP convert, but also, if you overgear an area and you're just farming, you can maintain your PP pretty easily using Braver Force. So, there was a lot we talked about, and here's a breakdown of everything I've covered. Consider using Katana and Bow to cover each other's weakness. Katana has great damage, but limited range. Bow has infinite range, but lower damage. My preferred Katana rotation is to do 2 Lotus into 1 Silver Leaf. Brave Combat should be used as much as possible due to its low cooldown and never miss the finisher. And finally, in terms of subclass choices, be aware Braver is really PP hungry, so you may benefit from Gunner or Force more than the other choices. And that pretty much concludes the video. Overall, Braver is one of those classes where it may feel clunky at first, but by studying the blade, unironically, you can make some crazy magic come out. This was definitely worth the wait for me, and it gives me Episode 3 PSO2 Braver vibes when it first came out in Japan. I can't really see any glaring weaknesses with this class, especially with the current state of NGS, where everything is honestly pretty easy and not difficult. The fact that Braver has an all-rounder kit right now makes me excited for future updates to see where they take this class. I'm also extremely excited to see where you guys end up taking this class as well, because personally, this is now my new main until 2022 with the Gunblade class. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I hope this video was able to help you in some way with Braver. Comment down below how you're improving your Braver gameplay, as I love to see what you guys come up with. Also, if you have any feedback or questions, comment down below and I'll definitely read it all. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day today. This is Casual Gamer Chorus from Everyday, and I'll see you next Wednesday with a new monthly PSO2 series that I'll be starting.